Oh, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt a lot. Woo! Austere command on artifacts and small creatures. Rough.
Today on Commander Replay, we check out 2 games with IcingDeath and find out if we can overcome some pretty questionable threat assessment. Next on Commander Replay. Hey guys, there's 2 great ways to support the channel. All links are in the description below.
Welcome back, everyone. Playing some IcingDeath Frost Tyrant today, and today's deck list comes to us from Patreon supporter Fish. Let's take a look at this opener. We got, what, 3 lands? 3 lands, little card draw right here, a little more right there. I think we can make this work. Keep this. And actually, Hearth and Home with Wall of Omens, that's repeatable draw and repeatable removal. Ooh, yeah. I like where this is going. Fish has been working on this deck for a while, so it should be pretty well refined, and I've played this deck from Fish in the past, even before that many rounds of revisions, and it's a pretty good aggro deck. It does still suffer from, like, some mono-white problems, but it's, you know, it's the true Voltron fashion, where it's just like, if you run out of removal, this deck will kill you. And there's something about that death ability creating the Frost Tongue equipment that it's surprisingly much more valuable than you think it is. There's an Esper Sentinel and an Ozolith coming in. Yeah, those are some pretty good turn 1 plays from our opponents. There's the Mistveil Plains. Okay. Both of these come in tapped, which is not ideal. I'm going to go Mistveil Plains first, because Hall of the Bandit Lord is a lot of life loss. Chronomaton. Let's take a read of our commander. So, it's IcingDeath Frost Tyrant. 4 mana for a 4/3, Flying and Vigilance. When it dies, create IcingDeath Frost Tongue, a legendary white equipment artifact token. With equipped creature gets +2/+0, and whenever equipped creature attacks, tap target creature defending player controls, and it's equipped too. Like I said, that ability is better than you think it is, and for 2 reasons. Number 1, well, maybe 3 reasons. First reason is you're getting value when IcingDeath dies, which is already more than you can say for, like, most commanders when they die. Most commanders when they die, you get nothing, and then you just have to recast them, and life is terrible. Secondly, the equipment does pump the power, and in Voltron, like, the thing that you're always worried about is, like, all right, I need to get some equipment on here. I need size and keywords, basically, right? This is essentially a power-boosting artifact that you get into play for, like, more or less free when it dies. And then thirdly, I've seen this with Greatsword of Tyr. The ability to tap down a creature defending player controls is better than you think it is. In many situations in Commander, through many portions of the game, opponents usually have 1 good blocker. They don't usually have 2 good blockers, and in particular with IcingDeath, where it already has flying, it's very uncommon that someone's going to have a lot of blockers that can profitably block IcingDeath, and especially as you start throwing, like, swords and things on it. There are many situations where that tap ability will just read as unblockable. And Greatsword of Tyr is a card that I've talked about a little bit here and there. Like, for such a budget-friendly card and for such a low mana cost, Greatsword of Tyr does an amazing job of just kind of, like, skirting past things, right? Like, yeah, it's not a Sword of X and Y, because obviously those are good and most of them are kind of expensive, but for, like, 25 cents, Greatsword of Tyr is, like, a pretty impressive card, to the point where I've had people shoot Greatswords of Tyr with spot removal, because they're just like, nah, I'm not dealing with that, it's just gonna be too much of a headache. You know what I mean? It's good enough that you could use removal on it, and the same could be said about Frost Tongue. Brings back to there's a Path of Ancestry, all of the tap lands going on here. Let's see, if we play a land, how bad do we need to draw the card? Let's get the Path of Ancestry. I was thinking about the Wall of Omens, it'd be nice, but I think we're better off trying to set up for our later plays with the untapped lands. Also a little comparison. So in the past, I've played the 5 mana Avacyn, not the flip Avacyn. What's the other one called? Guardian of Hope or something like that? Avacyn Guardian Angel, this one, the 5 mana one. I ran this deck back in the day. Oh man, it was probably good 5 years ago now. But similar keywords in that it is a flyer with flying and vigilance. IcingDeath is a little bit more aggressive on the mana, which I like. Obviously 1 less power. But they are really comparable commanders based on being similar in size and flying and vigilant. And what I noticed with that deck, especially 5 years ago before the current landscape of Commander, is that people would just pile up Commander damage very quickly. And as like a 5/4 flying vigilant, people didn't have things that could attack through that for like quite a few turns into the game, right? So, through the mid-turns of the game, I was putting damage on everyone, and they just had no ability to come back at me. And IcingDeath's going to have a little bit of that. Now, the landscape has changed since that time, so things are a bit different now. But, like, even still, we see a lot of, like, small value creatures out here. And once I think IcingDeath is in, these aren't really going to be that valuable in combat until at least some other things happen. To buff them up, maybe. But on their own, yeah, right, they're not going to get through this. And, the interesting comparison is that back then you had more time in a game of Commander. Games could reliably last 10 turns, where now it's more of an exception that games go 10 turns. Most games have, like, pretty hard limit between 7 and 9. And going 9 turns means probably 2 board wipes got played, or, like, 1 really nasty farewell or something. There's a Blackbladed Forge, those are good. Triggers the Esper Sentinel. Yeah, so the thing that you're up against now is you just have less time, and it's like, as a mono-white Voltron deck, that is a little bit problematic, because the problem you're going to run into with this deck is that you're only ever killing one player at a time, so you need to be very careful about your player selection of who you're taking out, and there are potentially situations where, a Soul Ring is nice. Okay, Soul Ring should make life a lot better for a lot of things. Just to finish up the thought, there are situations where it's just like, you can't kill all the people you need to kill in the time that you need to kill them, right? Like, you kill one player, and then the other player has that turn to kind of like rebuild or combo off or value off or, whatever nonsense they're trying to do if they've been left unchecked throughout the game. So it's a thing you're just going to have to deal with when you play mono white. It does happen. Anyway, let's figure out this turn here. So probably going to be the Soul Ring. Yeah. I kind of want to get the Lauren in. I really want to get the Lauren bounced. Like, I want to start playing that game because there's a lot of things to shoot on this board already. Yeah, so let's do that. Let's get the Soul Ring in. And this will also give us the ability to get a tap land in and kind of get through that awkwardness. There's the Soul Ring. Play Lauren. I think Esper Sentinel is the most pressing right now. So I'm going to get rid of that because that's the early game value. What does this one do? Draw a card, lose a bunch of life or something like that. Beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library, put that card in your hand, lose life equal to its mana value. That one at least costs resources, so you can let it go a little bit longer. Because, it is relevant to us if opponent's life total is getting low. Oh, this is a Selenia deck. I wonder if this is a flip-flop life totals kind of situation. It could be. Let's play this Hall of the Bandit Lord, get this thing in, and we'll pass like that. That Soul Ring, oh man. That's really going to help us a lot. It kind of gets through the awkwardness of drawing 3 tap lands in our opener. I'm also very excited about this Redain. Redain just carries equipment really well. Again, flying and vigilance, the Snowlands thing and the non-creatures thing, also great. That's a 3/3 going over to Jack the Card Ripper. Let's take a look at what our opponent's got going on here. So first up is Ponycorn Smasher piloting... Who are they piloting? Oh, here's their commander. I don't think I've seen this one yet. Omarthis Ghostfire Initiate is XX for... 0/0, I guess, comes into the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever you put 1 or more counters on another colorless creature, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Omarthis. Whenever it dies, manifest a number of cards from the top of your library equal to the number of counters on it. That's spicy. So this is your colorless modular deck, it would seem. You can be doing some like affinity, modular, heavy artifact type stuff. Is the name of the game. Possibly some Eldrazi, since those are colorless too. Might meet the requirements, but yeah, this thing looks interesting. Don't really know what to make of it just yet. In the middle here, we've got Jack the Card Ripper. Oh god, what is this? Martyr's Tomb. 4 mana enchantment out of Apocalypse. Pay 2 life, prevent the next 1 damage that will be dealt to target creature this turn. This definitely looks like a flip-flop your life deck. And they are piloting Selenia Dark Angel, which is a 5 mana 3/3 flying. Pay 2 life, return Selenia Dark Angel to its owner's hand. I believe for a long period of time, this was the only black and white legendary angel commander. Now you have both Liesas, and both Liesas are pretty nasty. And if I have to say, cool art and like a cool character that's kind of left on the side there from all the Innistrad stuff. But yeah, those Liases are super brutal. Do not like seeing them on the other side of the board. They are very strong. Brings us back to our turn. Yeah, let's get this sword in. Maybe, yeah, let's try to stay away from the Hall of the Bandit Lord. That is a lot of life loss. So I was thinking I was going to talk about that at some point. This is an interesting card. It is good for certain decks, but that 3 life per tap is a lot. And there's like no ability to tap it to not do that unless there's like an Urborg out or something, which, yeah, you know, I guess if you're a betting person, like Urborg or Cradle will show up in many, many games. But on its own, this will make your life total low very quickly. And it's the type of thing, like, it's generally going to be good for decks that want to win quickly, where you're not getting into, like, a long, drawn-out fight. And that's kind of what we're doing here. I've seen this in Kalia sometimes. She tends to be really good right there. There's probably a handful of others where it makes sense. Yeah, that's the Hearthenholm trigger. Let's blink the old Lauren. Oh, what we should do is then tap it in response to the blink. And Zombie said he's stuck in green mana, so Zombie can draw a card here. And that's a teleportation circle. Oh, man. If this thing stays in play, we're going to get so much value and do so much nastiness. Get a Plains. We blink. I'm going to go for this Dark Tutelage. Zombie seems to be stuck. Otherwise, if things are going better for Zombie, I would consider the Ozolith or the Blackblade Reforged, as those are powerful cards. Oh, man, we paying this life for the Wall of Omens? Yeah, I'll pay the life for the Wall of Omens. I guess, no, Wall of Omens doesn't gain you the life. That's the Angel that does that. Draw a card. Vanquish the Horde. Could be helpful. Things get out of control here. Zombie thought that their Ozolith was a Soul Ring for some reason. I'll let him have a pass on that. He does have a kid, a baby. So I'm sure he's not getting enough sleep at all. So these things do happen. Hopefully he found a land with the card that we gifted him. I want to revisit my Lauren deck. That deck was so awesomely annoying. I wouldn't say that it was good, but it's just like, if you keep blinking it, and no one has artifacts or enchantments, but you keep forcing card draw, it's, I don't know. I just enjoyed it. I want to take another look at it. Need to do that soon. I don't think I've said it yet. The name of Fish's deck list, by the way, is Till IcingDeath Shreds Us Apart. Cute little name. Yeah, I don't know. I just think this is a cool card. I wish I've played it more than I have. I wish the state of Voltron decks now was such that, like, I could just jam this into a deck. Just the way the game is now. Everything needs to be so fast, and it's like, oh, this is going to hurt. This is going to hurt a lot. Woo! Austere command on artifacts and small creatures. Rough. Luckily, we've got this Burnished Heart. Man, we would have been so much better holding on to this Wall of Omens. Yeah, that's gonna be rough. Opponent sacrifices some stuff to put a counting on the Culling Dais. Counter on the Chromaton. So that's the thing with a colorless commander. There was a time in which colorless commanders weren't significantly worse than colored ones. Like, there was a little bit of a discrepancy. I think that discrepancy has gotten rather large, in particular when you consider that, like, there isn't a lot of, like, protection. The game is so heavily revolved around, like, protection effects now. Because, like, let's just say we had the mana to protect our board state with the Teferis or something like that. With that austere command, we would be pretty far ahead on the value train. And now we have to rebuild. An opponent gets a whole bunch of 2/2s. That seems pretty good. I guess that's the protection, that if it dies, you get... That's a lot of power, actually. But, yeah, so... There's a few things that are just hard to get access to in colorless. There's, like, Cauldron of Souls. This is the only thing I can really think of. Because I've been going through this with Mono Red, because Mono Red doesn't have a lot of protection either. And for my Neheb deck, red creatures I want to play tribal, I just bought a Cauldron of Souls, so that there is some hope that I can survive a board wipe, because... You know, the deck spews everything out onto the board, and you're like, I have all these big, dumb red creatures like Ashen Fire Beast, except I have literally no backup plan if a board wipe goes off for that deck, so. Yeah, but in colorless, the card draw tends to be a problem, the protection is a problem. There is some removal. I haven't done a check on the removal suite in colorless. It's probably gotten a little better than it was, but it tends to be overcosted, so that's still a thing. So it's just like, yeah, there's certain things that you have trouble getting access to in colorless, and protection's a big one that really shapes how games play out now. Brings back to our turn. There's a Spirit Mantle, could be helpful at some point. Let's go ahead, get the High Market in. I think I'll haste our commander in, just get that damage going. Let's use the Path of Ancestry so we can get a Scry. That'll be nice. Gift of Estates will theoretically help us with our land drops. Though, we might be ahead on land drops. Yep, should have scryed that to the bottom. Whoops. Oh, that's not a good scry right there. I was thinking, oh, Gift of Estates, value, except the green deck forgot their green lands, and no one else has ramped or anything, so that Gift of Estates probably going to be a dead card. Since we have mana to burn, I'm going to put the Spirit Mantle on the IcingDeath just for some extra damage. Ponycorn looks like the threat at the table. We'll try to take him on here, and we'll pass like that. I did have to make a few changes to this deck, like 2 or 3 cards I couldn't find on Magic Online. Cut a Deal was one that I couldn't find. I added Secret Rendezvous instead. Same sort of idea, card draw. The other one, March of Otherworldly Light. I don't remember what I put in that spot. Yep, it's gone. I had no idea what I put in that spot, but I put something there. Oh, I did put a Sajiri Shelter in the deck. That I remember doing just to get an extra land, just because Magic Online can be really finicky about the lands, so, you know, you never know when that one extra land in the deck is going to keep you from getting stuck at a crucial moment, particularly in the early turns. Opponent doing a small attack, sending a 2/2 to each of the other 2 opponents. There was a game a while back, when it was right around the time Kaldheim came out, where I had Redain and Halvar in within equipment at the same time, and that was so much fun, because you can get in with the Flying and Vigilance on Redain, she stays back as a blocker because of the Vigilance, and you can just move that sword around wherever you need it for each combat. It was really good. Is Halvar just your turn? I can't remember if it's every combat or just your turn on Halvar. I haven't played Halvar in a minute. Even Halvar, right? Like, Halvar isn't in my Aurelia equipment deck. That's how weird things have gotten. And Halvar is a very good card. And the main reason is that that version of the deck now is a very combo-centric deck. Like, it really just wants to put Helm of the Host on Aurelia, Feast and Famine Aggravated Assault, Hearth and Home Aurelia, any of those sort of things. So it doesn't care about doing damage in the same way. It does operate truly like a combo deck. Just that you may get damage to, like, get value with Mask and Sword earlier in the game, but the actual win condition is, like, straight combo. I think I did put a Blackblade Forge back into it, though, just because, like, you know, those things can get pretty easy to disrupt, and sometimes just a Blackblade Forged is all it takes to take a player out. Sort of a free side win condition. So, if our hunch is correct that they're playing a life swap deck, then this is almost undoubtedly getting the life swap card, one of them. Lightning Greaves. What kind of answers do we have against something like that? Because with this, yeah, you can burn. You can just stack that a million times right and go to 1 life, I think. Is that correct? There's a Burnish Heart for Zombie that gives him some hope in this game. But this is what I'm talking about here. Like, opponent has a bunch of 2/2s. They couldn't send any our way. And we're just going to keep getting damage in the air. Yeah, there's that Gift of Estates we don't want. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're a 3, 4, 5, 6. Next turn, maybe. Maybe some hope. We lost both of our ATB creatures. Not the most ideal for this teleportation circle. Yeah, that Austere Command got us pretty good. Pretty good. I guess we could have hasted Redain. I don't know that I want to do that necessarily. Let's take a shot over to the Selenia deck here. Am I saying that right? Selenia? It's Selenia, isn't it? Oops. Been doing that for years. That's a hard one to correct. Let's get the Redain into... Ooh. Does Valkmira make sense against an army of 2/2s? Ooh, it might. It might. Let me read. Let's just get the Burnish Heart. The Burnish Heart is safe and gives us something to do. I will make a decision about the... Yeah, we can kind of just like wait and see. Though I guess if we crack the Burnish Heart, we're probably never getting to this Gift of Estates. But it's okay. If we draw a Mask of Memory, we can discard this to the Mask of Memory. That's what you do when it's a dead card. Wouldn't mind a Gaia Reach Sanitarium for the same reason. Let's take a look at Zombies Commander. See how this makes me feel about things. So this is Agatha of the Vile Cauldron. Haven't seen this one yet. It's a 1/1 for 2 mana. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost X last activate, where X is Agatha's power. This effect can't reduce the mana cost to less than 1. Oh. You want to know what deck this goes in? Does it have a tap symbol? It does not have a tap symbol. This would certainly be a very handy creature for tap creature tribal, but the only creatures in that deck have tap symbols. And then you can pay 6. Other creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample and haste until end of turn. That's the type of thing that can beat you in the late game with a lot of mana. So, I mean, something like this is sort of the reason that games don't go past. I mean, it's not truly this, but like this idea that like all cards do multiple things now. Like in years past, each card did one thing. And now, like, the setup and the payoff are usually in one card. Yeah, so there's the thing, right? So you put a bunch of power on this, that ability gets really cheap. Trample and Haste you know, you could rebuild after a board wipe, slam down some things, trample and haste everything, and take a player out, take 2 players out, whatever the case happens to be. That's a powerful ability late in a game. Because a lot of cards do 2 things now. Platinum Angel. That's a funny card. Yeah, this is almost definitely the life swap deck. And boots. Well, we still have the Vanquish, so if we put enough commander damage on them, we just Vanquish, and that should take care of itself. Font of Agonies. Yeah, this really looks like a life deck. Whenever you pay life, put that many counters on it. Remove, destroy target creature. That could be a pain. I would love to get rid of that, as a matter of fact. But finishing the thought, yeah, like, because everything has 2 abilities now, it's like, cards are dead much less of the time. When everything only does one thing, if it's not the one thing you need, well, if you draw it at the wrong time, it's like, well, I'm probably going to die to this board state, right? Or on the other hand, everyone just gets stuck because everyone has nothing, and then the game continues for 4 more turns. There's that too, so. Yeah, I don't know. Commander's in a weird spot now. Zombie cracks the Burnished Heart. Yep. And actually, I mean, after they crack this thing next turn, which they might, that'll be a lot of mana. While they're doing that, we're just going to crack our Burnished Heart. 3 more life for that. It's like I said, it's really steep on the Hall of the Bandit Lord here, but I don't know. Maybe we can stop tapping this thing after these 2 lands here. What was on the top of our deck? Did we scry? We didn't scry last turn. It's okay. We're pulling lands out. Pulling lands out is good. Demolition Field. A land is not what I was looking for. The nice thing is opponent can't even block if they want to because of the Spirit Mantle. Not that they would. It's a Platinum Angel, but... our stuff's probably going to get blown up, though. I hope opponents realize the, like, dire situation that's kind of going on here. Let's get the Teleportation Circle in. I'm thinking about holding off on this Redain for a little bit, although, Redain, I mean, he's probably just get shot by this thing, though, right? Like, they can pay a bunch of life, and then just shoot down all of our stuff, and I just don't love the way that sounds. No targets for our Teleportation Circle makes me sad. Both of the important things got blown up there. Cryptic Trilobite. That card just makes me nervous. Don't really know why, but makes me nervous. By the way, I was at the Houston Museum of Science last weekend, and they have many trilobites there. They have a fantastic prehistoric and dinosaur exhibit, and it's wonderful. As well as many other cool things. Got to see King Tut also. Let's see what opponents think. Ooh, all our way, yeah. So maybe last turn on the Redain. Yep, changing their mind. A big one over to Jack the Card Ripper, but a lot of 2/2s in our direction. Yeah, if that's going to be the case, I think I'm going to go on Valkmira next turn, even though I really like Redain. Though we could play the board wipe. Though, I mean, so good chance that opponent shoots our IcingDeath, which means if we don't have any creatures, Vanquish is sort of a free roll against all this, which means we don't immediately need Valkmira. Oh god, crap, I think I just passed through blocks. Yep, that I did. I meant to kill this thing. I am positive that that's not the correct threat assessment, though. We're down to 19. That hurts. Is this their commander? Yeah, their commander's back, so it'll be 5. Yeah, Valkmira's looking very good. Could use a Hushbringer to stop the dies trigger. Just some exile removal. Interestingly, we can cast this as Valkmira because you can target artifacts with this, which is an easy thing to forget. That's the second tutor. That's an increasing ambition. Yeah, I'm sure opponent's not doing the right thing here. Yep, there's a veto. Whenever you gain that much life, target opponent loses that much life. Yeah, I mean, like, the life swap is probably coming next. If nothing else, we're probably on Vanquish. But yeah, theoretically, we could cast this on the backside and then use this to flip it to the front side if we feel like we need the front side, though the backside seems very good for the current situation. Very quickly up to turn 8 in this game. Zombie plays a Domri, Anarch of Bolas. Creatures get +1/+0, can make some mana, can have some things fight. Honestly, if I were Zombie, I'd probably just crack the Bladed Woodland this turn. Oh, do they have the mana to do it? No, I think they're still 1 short. Bard class is okay. I'd probably still go with the lands personally. Yeah, especially because they wasted they left some mana hanging too. Shadow Spear is some nicely needed life gain. Let's cast a Shadow Spear. Also, could be helpful to really make sure the board wipe gets through. Equip the Shadow Spear. No lands really worth shooting yet, so we'll tap that one out. There's a question I've been asking myself is whether I should try to put some of this stuff back in the deck, because it's a question of whether what we draw first, a reanimation piece or a tutor, and you just don't really know. Swing into Jack the Card Ripper. See if they want to get tricky and start shooting stuff. I would love to get this hidden, though, for the life gain. Counteract the Hall of the Bandit Lord that we've been going wild with. It gets in. They're down to 8. Okay, so the next thing to do is Vanquish for the minimum. Ooh, that's a Warping Whale. Wasn't counting on that one. Yeah, that's not great. That opponent... I think that's going to get us killed. I do think we're going to die. The question is whether the rest of the table is going to die to this deck. Would Valkmira have saved this whenever another permanent? No, it's permanents only. We are going to play Valkmira, though. Teleportation Circle, no targets. All Is Dust is a pretty strong play, except it leaves the Platinum Angel. Don't feel amazing about that. Oh, God, is this really going to kill Valkmira? Is this colorless? What color is this? It's white. Man, getting cleaned up by the board wipes. Oh, God, we're going to die. Opponent's paying life on stuff. I take issue with the fact that they're still missing the Platinum Angel. Like, they should have let the Vanquish go off, because they still end up with 5/2/2s, right? Like, they can still do a lot. Like, everyone else is losing a lot into that board wipe, and our board wipe deals with the Platinum Angel where theirs doesn't. And I get that, like, you know, obviously the one-sided board wipe is a nice play. They don't lose much, but the thing is, the other thing too, though, is so, like, they burn their counterspell just to wipe the board on their turn. I get that they're doing it on their own terms, but they've now burned 2 resources to do essentially the same thing. Opponent is actually down to 0 life now, right? And, like, that's a line of play that, like, they can't take if we blow up the Platinum Angel on them. Puts a counter on the Trilobite. Big attack our way. No, they're kind of, like, skirting around. Big one our way. Looks like they're sending most of the small ones over to Zombie. I can live with that. Right? Because, like, yeah. So with our board wipe, they still come out ahead on that, right? They still have, like, 10 power or something like that of stuff while no one else has anything. And the Platinum Angel's gone. Now the Platinum Angel's still here. I don't know that they have a way to deal with it. And, yeah, they still have a good board state, but they burn 2 cards to accomplish essentially the same thing. Yep, there's the repaying kind. There it is. Yep, we all go to -4. That's frustrating. That is frustrating. That part of the problem of bringing aggro decks to, like, high power tables, people are like, oh, you're the aggro deck, and it's like, yeah, I can kill 1 player at a time. Like, please be smart. Think about who's gonna combo off. Welcome back, everyone. Playing some more IcingDeath Frost Tyrant today, and today's deck list comes to us from Patreon supporter Fish. This is a weird hand, to be completely honest with you. 2 lands. This one burns your life really quickly. One thing that finds a land... I feel weird about this hand. I'm going to mulligan this hand. Mangara is good value. I feel better about this hand. Wayfarer's Bauble for opponent on turn 1. Everyone is running the same decks back that they played in the last game. So we have Agatha, the Vile Cauldron, Selenia, and Omarthis. There's another land for us. Play a land. And pass like that. The Ozolith coming back in. Turn 1. Ondu Inversion as a land. Yeah. I don't care for Ondu Inversion as a card. It's just so much mana. Like, the state of Commander now is such that, like, you need to wipe the board and you need to be able to rebuild all in the same turn, which means you usually need one of the, like, the cost-reduced board wipes or, like, a route at the end step kind of thing to be able to get the tempo advantage that you really want. And Ondu Inversion, it's really hard to do that with. I get that it's a land and a board wipe, but I haven't adopted it much over the years, though Fish has gotten me good with it a few times. It is like a nice extra board wipe in the deck, but I don't know. There's a trade-off there. Definitely a trade-off. Mirran Crusader, yeah, we're kind of a slow hand here. Also, we're not going to get a ton of help on the colors, I don't think. Well, pro-black, maybe, against the Selenia deck. Zombie's got some green. Colorless deck, not going to do a whole lot, though. This Windborn Muse, if we can keep this alive, there were a couple board wipes in the last game, but if we can keep it alive against the Omarthis, this thing spits out tokens like crazy. Windborn Muse will be very good against those. That is the type of thing... I'm probably going to try to hold that till a critical moment just because of the way that board wipes happened last game. There did seem to be a pretty strong amount of removal. Mindstone. Maze Mind Tome is an interesting card that I've been wanting to get a look at. We'll see how effective it is here. I do think it could be a little mana intense. Maybe a little slow, maybe a little dirtily. Another land. Staying on the super slow plan here. Let's run down this Mirran Crusader and pass like that. That said, like, you know, if you don't have a huge collection of, like, a ton of cards and you're on Commander deck number 20 or something like that, this is a perfectly reasonable card to put into the deck, right? Is it going to blow you away with power? No, probably not. But it does keep you from getting stuck, and not getting stuck is an important thing in games of Commander. Zombie playing almost all the same cards that he played last game. Blackbladed Forged back into play. We don't have that Lauren to shoot everything. 1-1 over to Jack the Card Ripper. Burnished Heart. Omarthis coming in. It's a 1-1. Arcbound Stinger. As I'm thinking about it, this deck can probably proliferate, which does make this potentially more powerful than it would be on its own. And this goes up to a 2-2. Yep. Animation Module. Scry 1. Back to our turn, another land. Oh my, could just use, we need to be quicker than we're going. We're going to play the Mangara right here, and this game can go one of two ways. There's two outcomes here. I'm gonna send the Mirror Crusader into the combo deck, as you do. The two outcomes for this game are the outcome where this Mangara stays in play and generates value for a couple turns, which means we have a much better time than if this gets immediately blown up and we get very little value out of it. The first one gives us a really good opportunity to win the game. The second one means things probably aren't going to go very well. So it's really important for this thing to stay in play. I don't know if it's on Magic Online yet, but this deck probably needs a reprieve for exactly the situation we ran into in the last game. You're going to get blown out by something big probably later in the game. Like, if you can delay that for a turn, opponent just going to keep doing the Burnished Heart thing, leaving their mana up. Expedition Map, that's a 1-mana play, which I really hope they follow it up with another card so we can draw something. They crack the thing. They seem to have a lot of activated abilities, which probably isn't great for us. Maze Mine Tome, draw a card. Culling Deus into... there's the card draw. Excellent. We need cards. Archon of Emeria is a spicy card. We're coming up a little short on damage right now, though. Archon of Emeria, actively bad with Mangara. Those two kind of cancel each other out. There is a time and a place for both, and I wouldn't necessarily not run them in the same deck. They're both powerful effects, but I'll probably just hold this one until it seems like it makes more sense. Another land. We are on the slowest hand ever. On account of Valkmira being good last game, we're facing the same decks. It's probably still good this game. Let's get our commander. There might be too many creatures in this deck. What's the creature count in this deck? 28? Yeah, that's way too many creatures for a Voltron deck. Way too many creatures. If it were my deck, and I were trying to be like hard Voltron, all in on the Voltron, I'd probably like 15. I'll send this one over to Zombie. Get them off 40. That's a Blackbladed Forge on their commander. Yeah, that's going to make their commander a lot scarier. See where they want to point it. Our direction might be a thing that happens. If that is the case, they draw a card. Might start leaving this back as a blocker because the pro-green, though they can give it trample, but at least it costs mana. It's early enough in the game that, that's probably a spell. No attacks. Opponent cracks the Burnished Heart at the end step. Sisei's Ring for opponent. This is the type of play that can generate some card draw off this Mangara. What's their follow-up? Mana Rocks are good for Mangara. Esper Sentinel, there we go. Draw more cards. We need to find some damage. There's an Iganjo. What's this one do? 4 damage to attacking or blocking creature. Costs 1 less for each legendary creature you control. Ooh, Tainted Remedy. That's a scary card. That is a very scary card. If an opponent would gain life, that player loses that much life instead. Yep. Lost to that a few times. Bad for our lifelink. This also has lifelink. Ever-Flowing Chalice into the Sentinel. Kick 3 times. That's a lot of mana. More in Power Stone. More card draw. Generous Gift could be handy. Oh, man, we haven't ramped at all. It's going to be tough to leave that up. Our hand is so clunky. Akroma's Will is a good card. We have to discard this turn. Play the Plains. I'm going to leave this thing back because there's a big green creature over there. But we can start poking in the air with IcingDeath. And I think we're on the leave all of our mana up plan, either for Akroma's Will or Generous Gift. Get a little bit of commander damage into Jack the Ripper. We'll discard the Plains, keep up our other effects. Leafkin Avenger. Add green for each creature with power 4 or greater, and then you can pay a lot to do damage to things. Could go in tap creature tribal, but most of the creatures in that deck are pretty small, so it's probably only going to make 1 or 2 mana. Well, if Jegantha's in play, that'd be 2 mana at a time with the potential of damage late in the game. It's not awful, but there's probably better. Stony Strength. +1 counter and untap it, and they draw a card. There's tutor number 1. Oh, Warship. It's a fun card. I built an Akiri deck around Warship. Soul Ring is a helpful pickup. We need to get things out of our hand. We don't have tons of removal. We have a little bit right here, should it become relevant. A little bit right there, should it become relevant. Omarthis triggers and Animation Module triggers. Phyrexian Vault, there's some card draw for you. I guess if you're making a lot of tokens, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen in colorless. We do get a draw with Mangara, thankfully. Umezawa's Jite is a great way to kill an Esper Sentinel. And a lot of these things also. Interestingly, we haven't run into that next plains yet, so we might have to actually play our Iganjo. In the spirit of being... We probably need to keep holding that generous gift. Like, I want to do stuff... This has flash. Anything worth exiling? I don't know, just like running another creature down there doesn't feel like the answer. Soul Guide Lantern, is very interesting. So Soul Guide Lanterns allows us to get rid of this so they can't flash it back. Esper Sentinel triggers. Not paying, haven't really figured out how I'm going to use my mana here. Definitely should have played the Soul Ring first, though. Exile the Increasing Ambition. Increasing Ambition's not one you see a lot anymore either, so like, if you see this, they are playing a combo deck, right? Let's get the Soul Ring into play. Cast the Iganjo. Down to 8 cards in hand. We can leave up Generous Gift, but we can't leave up Generous Gift and a Chroma's Will with the Jit. Okay, so I think we just keep poking the combo deck like we've been doing. I'm going to do a thing that you should not ever do. I'm going to run this Jit down there, second main phase, and not equip it. Don't ever do this, but remember, I'm a professional. So for me, the thing is, I really want a Chroma's Will and Generous Gift up for whatever I think is about to happen over here. A Chroma's Will for a board wipe, and Generous Gift to shut down some sort of, like, combo play with Tainted Remedy. Ooh. That's in Ashaya, Soul of the World. What does this thing do again? It's been a minute since I've seen it. Power toughness equal to the number of lands you control. Non-token creatures you control are forests. Triggers a Mangara, Rite of Passage. Whenever a creature you control is dealt damage, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Interesting. Triggers Esper Sentinel and Mangara. Command Beacon, their next land drop. Draws a card. Gorilla Shaman. Here's one you don't see a ton of. Oh, yeah. That makes Agatha makes Gorilla Shaman a lot better than it is otherwise. Because right now, under normal circumstances, it would take 5 mana to blow up this Umezawa's Jit. With this, it can get much, much cheaper. And that's only a 2-drop, right? Like 5 mana against a 2-drop it's a lot. Unless your deck's really making a lot of mana, it's not worth it. Where this does tend to be good is against 0-drop artifacts. But beyond that, I mean, because even for a 1-drop, it's, 3 mana? It's okay, and certain times that's fine, but it's generally just not worth it. 9 times out of 10, you're just going to be better off with a Vandal Blast, right? This is 5 mana to shoot one thing. Vandal Blast is 5 mana to shoot all of your opponent's artifacts. So, there is that. Swiftfoot Boots. Are we going to see the Platinum Angel next? Oh, Boots on the Sentinel, you say. Gonna have to let that one happen. Phyrexian Unlife. You don't lose the game for having 0 life or less. Stratascythe. How many planes are at this table? Only us. Still, it's needed damage. Though... not cheap to equip. I'm getting a lot closer on the Archon of Emeria play. A lot of mana over there. Yeah, everyone's kind of got a lot of mana now. I think Archon of Emeria is starting to look a lot better. I think commander damage skirts around a lot of this stuff, though. Yeah, they're on 8 from IcingDeath. There's a Dreamstone Hedron. I wonder if they crack that for cards, because they're low on cards. Yep, they crack for cards. Arcbound Slith. Teleportation Circle. Oh, man. I'm not going to have time to get all this stuff in. Need a mana geyser. Get all these cards out of our hand. Is there a Nykthos in this deck? Doesn't look like it. That's probably one that I would add. I know they're not cheap, but a Nykthos would help a bit with the problem that we're having right now, which is that we don't have the mana to get the cards out of our hand. We could have used this to exile a card from our hand and do the thing. Probably should have did that. We've been really bad with our mana this game because we've been having to sit on interaction against the combo deck, and we're just like not casting things as a result. It's not great. There's planes. Play the Command Beacon. Equip the Jite. We have 8 mana. This is 6. So much mana to get that thing going. Okay, I was just kind of mathing things out. It doesn't make sense to use the Chroma's Will yet. That still won't be enough damage even with the Jit. But, yep, keep swinging into the combo deck. We hit with the Umezawas. Yeah, I think we go for the Archon of Emeria. Let's check on the mana before we get carried away here. We'll have 5 mana left, which means we can go either Generous Gift or a Chroma's Will, not both. With 8 mana, we can do both. I think I feel better with the Archon in play. Also, it gets a card out of our hand. We do just need to get cards out of our hand here. Honestly, We should probably... We should have evoked... I should have evoked this thing to shoot the Esper Sentinel last turn. I would have felt a lot better about that. We need to discard 2 cards right now. Not thrilled about that. Discard a planes, and... Are we getting onto the teleportation? It's good with the Solitude, isn't it? It is good with the Solitude. Discard Wall of Omens. There's got to be a few things in the deck that'll get that back pretty easily. We've been drawing cards enough. Like, our problem right now is just getting cards out of our hand. Can't deploy them quick enough, so... Alina is a magic card. Give that haste. It's really good with haste. Is now a 16/16. It's pretty big. It's pretty big. Opponent said they don't play any tutors more efficient than Diabolic Tutor. Otherwise, it feels yucky. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Like, if you know you're playing this in not, like, the highest power of decks, then slowing down your tutors a little bit keeps it within reason. And, like, I don't feel like the deck itself was out of bounds, like, in the last game. I just felt like the threat assessment was really bad. And there were many clues being laid down that didn't get picked up, and it's kind of frustrating. Other creatures get +1/+1 and trample. Yeah, that trample is very scary. There's a 16/16 out there. It is a commander. That's a lot of commander damage. And there's a 15/15 Ashaya. That is a hurtin'. Put a hurtin' on someone. They're going to do it again. Make them bigger. Yep. Where do they want to point that damage? Really? Doesn't even have anything we can kill. That's frustrating. I guess start shooting stuff over here. The good news is we don't have any artifacts. Like, they wouldn't shoot this. They might shoot that, but... Okay, they're going to shoot the boots. Okay, this is what I was hoping they would do, because, like, now we have a thing left and we can shoot the Esper Sentinel. And that'll take Warship offline. Opponent's going to draw a card with the thing. Yeah, that's fine. Let some of this resolve. Animation module and Omarthis trigger. Omarthis, sorry. Boots down, and I'm going to be very happy to shoot this Esper Sentinel. Activates again to shoot the animation module. Seems like a reasonable play. Basically, no one's ever going to be able to have artifacts as long as the Gorilla Shaman is in play. But we will shoot the Esper Sentinel. And so this opens up some plays, because now they don't have the condition met for Warship. So if they just plow in there for a bunch of damage, they would go to 0, and at any moment we could shoot the Phyrexian on life, and then they just lose the game immediately. So that's cool. I like that. Keeps things in arm's reach. It will be tough to, like, Alpha Strike with equipment. That'll be a very difficult thing to do. Probably going to involve some amount of, like, Solitude first, get rid of the Gorilla Shaman, and then, like, drop a Stratascythe or something like that. See what he's thinking about attacks here. One in the Jack, and a big one into our direction. Yeah, I was concerned that might happen. Well, it's going to get us for a lot of life. That's what's going to happen. We can block with the Pro Green. Wait, is it not a color anymore? So their commander is colorless, which means blocking with the Mirran Crusader isn't really the best use of resources here. So they're just going to take the big old hit. Actually, what about this? You don't lose the game for having 0 or less. Okay, so there's 2 things in play. No, yeah, we have things covered. They're down to 2, which is unfortunate. It gives them a chance to still kind of use all their resources. Selenia coming in. Is this just as a blocker? They can only cast 1 spell, so... That's fine with me. I might hard cast the Solitude if we don't need to, like, do anything. Arcbound Worker. Let's see if they remember the Archon of Emeria, because that doesn't seem like a very strong play. I don't know if they have anything else or not. They're low on cards, but... they're going to put X charge counters on Blast Zone. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value. Ooh, yeah, that seems good. Definitely want to hold up the Achroma's Will for that. Very small attack over to Zombie. Slith gets a counter on it. I noticed that Ponycorn likes their +1/+1 counter decks. End step, we're just going to hardcast this Solitude just to, like, use our mana. We haven't been doing that. Get cards out of our hand. Ashaya is usually a safe bet, but there is something to say about, like, getting that commander out of play, but, like, I mean, really, they probably just should have put an attack over there, right? Like, Ashaya down. Linvala's really interesting. Yeah, Linvala seems good for what's going on here. Oh, this can't be blocked. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, go to combat. Send this one into Jack the Ripper, and send this one into Zombie. I think we hold the rest back because there's kind of a lot of stuff on board. Let's go ahead and shoot the... Crap, Warship's still in play. Did I really just mess this up? So the damage will be reduced to 1. I really just messed this up. Oh my god. Yeah, shoot the Warship. Oh man, that's going to be our only play. Oh man, that leaves us wide open to a lot of nasty stuff. I think it's got to happen though. Warship down. Opponent's at -1. And yeah, we can't really do that much else because of the Archon. Maybe there's a world... No, because Zombie was first in the turn order, right? Because then the other two players aren't under the Archon. Like, if Ponycorn attacked us, there's a world in which getting rid of the Archon there makes sense, so we can kind of unload more cards. Ortheon is a very scary Magic card. I really wish we got that Linvala in last turn, which we did not. Other creatures have haste and trample. I'm hoping... Oh, they have this. Yeah, they'll have the mana to do that. They will have the mana to do that. We're going to die to the Tainted Remedy. That's probably what's going to happen. Because we can't lifelink. Lifelink will get us killed. There are many Leafkin Avengers. Oh, that's cute. So they each make a lot of mana, so he can, like, throw a lot of damage around the board. Bigger and more trample. Bigger and more trample. Oh, Linvala. I really wish we got you in. If we survive this turn... Doesn't look great, but these are 7/6s. Really, we're blowing up the Soul Guide Lantern. Yeah, well, exile the graveyards. Opponent's gonna put Warship back on top. And our Soul Ring. Lovely. Zombie's got damage. What's he want to do with it? Commander our way, of course. It doesn't give itself trample. That's actually pretty big. We get to draw with Mangara. That's cool. Settle the Wreckage? I don't know. Let's settle... Palace Jailer. Let's see how this is going to play out here. There's a Gorilla Shaman coming at us with trample. Probably want to get that killed. There's a 7/6 at us with trample. Really, you're letting the combo deck live? That's what we're doing? How much first strike do we have? We have no first strike. So this I would block with the Archon. I mean, we're facing a life swap deck, so like... I don't know. We just take it all. We should get rid of that. Let's get rid of the Archon. I think the Archon's hurting us at this point. And then we'll take 12 off the other things. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just what's going to happen. Block with Archon of Emeria on the commander. Take the rest. Opponent's gonna draw with their blocks. Yep. We're at 5. Interestingly, opponent put Warship back on top of their deck, which they're now going to draw. And, like, if they don't have the answer in hand, then we might get another shot here. Secret Rendezvous. Okay, that'll give them more of a shot. Zombie scooped because his opinion is either that he's going to lose to the combo deck or to what's on board already. Let's see what they've got. Magus of the Mirror. Well, at least it doesn't have haste yet. Boots went down. That is helpful. Loyal Warhound. That might be a reasonable card. I think we've fallen behind on lands at some point. We might be in the clear. Another land for opponent. City goofed his mana. Budget mana base. Yeah. Yeah, they will. Budget mana bases... It depends on the situation. Like, the situation right here is like they have a ton of swamps and very few plains. There are many times where you can get through it and it doesn't matter that much, but every once in a while it will bite you. I don't attribute very much power to a mana base of a deck. Like, it means you're more consistent in being able to cast your spells on time, but many times it won't even come into play. Opponent sacrifice something into Mirror in the Moaning Well, and Tainted Remedy's still in play, but if it was their commander, they will make a bunch of 2/2s. And what's probably going to happen here is they're probably going to turn everything sideways, yep, and then we're going to die because we can't gain life. 2 of these things have lifelink, and ideally I would use a Chroma's Will to Contagion Engine. Huh. If they can kill them before combat, there's hope. What do these do? Yeah, they're going to minus our creatures. Protection from all colors doesn't help us. This will die. IcingDeath should survive. Oh no, after the double proliferate? Oh yeah, no, we're toast. We are toast. Settle the Wreckage off the top? Ah, Demolition Field. Commander coming back. Yep, going on the big attack. I really don't think we can do anything. We draw? Come on. Something that gets us out of it. Fairies, settle the Wreckage. Path to Exile. What does that do? How many things are actually attacking? 5. Oh, we might be able to wiggle out of this. Yeah, go to blocks. The lifelink's probably still going to get us. Why can't I block this thing? Block with everything. Path this creature. Opponent scooped. What? Well, this game has gotten weird. I guess we survive? Now we just go for the win, and I guess. Our creatures are in a weird state here. Warship is gone. We just need to put some damage on them. Don't think we need to do too much. How big is this thing? It's a 4/2. And just for kicks. I'm gonna play this Palace Jailer. Exile this thing. Play the land. Go to combat. I think our creatures are stuck. That's not good. Well, this thing should finish the job. I don't really know what's happening. Scoop during mid-combat, not great for Magic Online. I mean, we won, but, like, I don't really feel good about how it happened. That's all a thing. Yo, yeah, they had all the life doublers and stuff. Or life swaps. Honestly, my review of this deck, too many creatures. 28 is too many. Like, 28 is go-wide levels of creatures. And IcingDeath, not really a go-wide type of creature. You do want some other creatures in the deck, but yeah, like, for me, 15 to 20 would be plenty. 15's on the low side if you really want to go, like, hard Voltron. 20 if you like having a few other creatures in there just to, you know, have something in play, because you do need a nice balance of, like, creatures to equipment in case IcingDeath gets blown up. I mean, overall, the cards in the deck are powerful, so there is that, and, you know, this deck will win games on account of that. These are all really good cards, like. But I just feel like maybe the concept behind it isn't really, like, what IcingDeath is well suited to. Yeah, I would definitely change the creature count. The other thing, too, so, like, you know, if you're playing 28 creatures, like, you need a True Conviction up here, right? Like, that's how you win with a white deck, and whatever that new crazy white Craterhoof thing is, like, that's a thing you probably want. I've been adding it back into a lot of my decks, but I've been putting, like, Comeuppance and Settle Wreckage back into almost everything because they're just so good. I just feel so much better when those are in my hand, so. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy the videos. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.
I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel, vote on which decks I play next, or if you want to get some good games of Spell Table, be sure to check out my Patreon at the link below.